Hi folks, I'm the newstarcadefan here, and welcome back to A Winter's Daydream. In the last episode, we took Umeko out kimono shopping, but it's proving to be a very fruitless endeavor. Though, we gonna find out what we're gonna do right now. I glance around my surroundings, my fingers jammed deep into my pockets. It's much too cold to let them roam about in the wild. Yeah, I forget to wear the gloves too sometimes, but yeah. The deciduous trees around the plaza were dusted with snow from earlier this morning, but some of the powdery snow has melted during our hunt. The anemic sun hangs in the gray, steely sky shimmers weakly. Though it's a cold day, there's a lot of clouds. The sun is still doing its best to keep shining. I, on the other hand, have already started to wilt. Maybe we left too late? All the good kimonos might have been bought already. Oh, don't be so downhearted. You're underestimating my womanly wiles. Yeah, never underestimate a woman's feminine wiles, especially if they're smart, because they will find out how to do something. I give her a sidelong look. What do you mean? We haven't exhausted all of our options yet, but we've been in every single clothes store there is. We might have been in every single clothes store, but there's still one place we haven't looked. Where? My grandmother tapped her nose with her index finger. That's for me. That's for me to know, dear, and for you to find out. Oh, yeah. Umeko did telegraph that she was a little bit of a brat growing up, and she also might have been the one that had to smack a few women who got close to her Yukinari. Oh, you. Don't you think this looks lovely? Well, it is quite cute, I guess. But this one is very nice too. And this. My grandmother's so excited I can practically see that heart swirling around her head. Yeah, I can see that too. This last shop my grandmother wanted to examine isn't devoted to clothes, secondhand or otherwise. Tamayura, which is located down the rabbit warren of twisting and turning streets, is an antiques shop. Ah, if we wanted to do this. This antique shop mostly carries items from the latter half of the Edo period, lacquered plates, ukiyo-e prints, tobacco pouches, and ichimatsu dolls. It does, however, have a small section near the back of the shop devoted to antique kimonos and obis, and there are even geta shoes, parasols, and shawls in numerous colors. And this is what she was talking about. The selection of items is fairly small and select, but it doesn't dampen my grandmother's enthusiasm. Oh, they're all so beautiful. They're not quite like the ones I wore when I was young, but they're nice, much nicer than the cheap mass-produced kimonos at those other shops. Do any of these kimonos look like the one you wore when you first met Grandpa? I'll never find an exact replica, of course. Maybe it's better that way. It's impossible to replicate the past. And I used to think it was impossible for people to lose 60 years overnight, but look at you now. My grandmother giggles, holding the cream sleeve of her sweater against her mouth. Well, I suppose you make an excellent point, huh? I wonder how much these cost. I examine the kimono that's the closest to me on a rail. It's a soft orange color embroidered with an intricate image of a wheat field. And look at the price it demands. Yeah, this is more than 8,000 yen. 120,000 yen. Yeah, that's pretty expensive. Ah, I drop the fabric hastily and take a step back. These kimonos are so expensive, I feel like I'm losing money just by looking at them. Yes, that's how it does feel. The worst thing is, the soft orange kimono I handled is one of the cheaper ones, and it's still more than 10 times the price of the kimonos we examined in the other stores. Are you sure you can afford this, Grandma? They're pretty expensive. Don't worry about me, dear. I have savings. But I'm not a fool, you. Though I might be old, I didn't imagine a suitable kimono would fetch quite the hefty price. That's inflation for you. Yeah, that's how it goes. Something that cost $100 3 years ago costs 250 now, and so on. Besides, Yukinari always said as a woman, that I was a woman with expensive taste. I know, but 120,000 yen for something you're gonna wear once? Oh my, you sound just like my mother, you. I was trying to be sensible. I know, dear. That's one of your good qualities. It's very sweet. That's what she says, but her eyes are glinting like she's teasing me. My grandmother always liked teasing people. She used to feed me lots of silly stories when I was a kid just to see how I would react. Once she told me that Lisette was sentient and she moved around at night when nobody was looking. I found Lisette unsettling enough with her unblinking eyes and her pouty lips, but that only made it worse. I was genuinely frightened of that doll when I was younger. Bruh, come on now. You could. Well, yeah, like I said earlier, the anime Rosin Maidens was actually based off of that premise, a little bit. Maybe a little bit. Not frank enough to that deter me from me tipping her upside down to examine her drawers, though. Let's move on. If you want my opinion, I still think you should let your old grandma have a bit of fun every once in a while. I've always loved clothes shopping, but you've been wearing the same clothes for years. And that's precisely why I want to look nice now. My grandmother's fingers trailed across the rack of kimonos almost reverently. If I'm going to visit Yukinari again, I want to look my very best. I want to buy something pretty enough that does my new body justice, even if it lasts for one night. Alright, Fab, you're sounding disturbingly like Otoko. Your sister's a very pretty girl. I'll take that as a compliment. It's not exactly the beauty. We know Otoko's pretty, but for some reason she has a very sour attitude. And also possible self-esteem issues. She might be pretty, but she's rotten on the inside. I always thought that Otoko, with her fiery nature and a short temper, really didn't take after anybody in her family. She's not like Dad, who's laid back, or Mom, who fusses and fidgets and bends over backwards to please people. I might have been wrong, though. Otoko's not very much like her mother or father. She has more than a couple of similarities with her grandmother. They both have a penchant for expensive clothes. Huh? Speaking of which, Otoko wanted me to buy her a gift, didn't she? I didn't think I'd find any frilly bikinis not so amongst the shelves of Tamayora, but I might as well be able to find her something you'll like. I'm gonna look around. Tell me when you're finished. Of course, I might be here for a while though. I've been taken right back into my childhood. Did you go clothes shopping a lot? Oh yes, especially for my mother. She enabled me really. She was forever fussing about money. She warned me against being arrogant, but she loved dressing me up. That there is a contradiction. She warned against being arrogant, but loved dressing you up. How does that square exactly? Take your time, then I don't mind. I will, and thank you for understanding, dear. I appreciate it. I do my best. I wander off, glancing around this peculiar shop with my newly kindled interest. A present for Otoko, hmm? What was she like? The shop is really filled with interesting wares. The shelves are positively crammed full of stuff, shimmering mysteriously beneath the dimmed lights. I think they dim the lights in the antique shops on purpose so that artificial brightness doesn't harm any of the antique pieces, particularly the paintings. That makes sense actually, because direct sunlight and UV will destroy anything that's like painted, and that includes even the old dressing screens of the day. These ukiyo-e pictures are rather interesting, of women in kimonos playing the koto or standing in tea gardens with the raised parasols shielding them from the sun. I find them quite charming in a dated kind of way, but I very much doubt they would be to Otoko's taste. I keep searching, making a mental inventory of all the curios I find inside my head. There are a few fans decorated with soft pastel images of butterflies and gardens, an enamel brooch resting in a blue jewelry box, a 15 pieces of kimikoki dolls with kimonos fashioned out of cloth, and black haircut to neat bobs. I try not to look at the price tags attached to these items. Something about zeros is rather frightening. While I peruse, I can't stop myself from glancing over at the shopkeeper. Well, this shopkeeper is actually pretty beautiful when you think about it, though she may also be quite helpful for us. She's a surprisingly young woman in her mid-20s or so. She looks a little out of place in a store like this, especially with her carefully manicured fingernails and a glossy magazine in her hands. I try to covertly read the cover of the magazine. The name looks familiar, though I've never read it. I think it's one of those same magazines Otoko buys. If it is, then I wouldn't be surprised. This woman looks to be as fashion conscious as my caustic little sister. I just hope she'll be more agreeable. Hey, the shopkeeper lifts her head, setting the magazine to one side. Why are you staring at me? I blushed trying to avert my eyes, but it's already too late. The girl behind the counter knows I've been staring. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. The girl, woman I should say, pursed her lip. She doesn't look convinced of my weak reassurances. You know, it's pretty rude to stare at other women when you're out with your own girlfriend. Well, it's one thing for the kindly old bus driver, but it's an entirely different thing for the shopkeeper. Girlfriend? The one looking at the kimonos. She is your girlfriend, right? You better think on your feet, because in the next episode, you're gonna need it. If you like what you've seen so far, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and to share. It helps the channel out a lot. Anyway, I'm the new Starcade fan saying thanks for watching, have a good day or night wherever you are, and bye for now.